you might have some, so if you've got a group of children, there'll be people, the kids in that environment that will have different skills. Some are doers, get in and break and pull things apart, whereas others might be into more fine, chopping up small things and coupled together with supervision of an adult can actually, that really gets them engaged. So materials wise, you can see there's different types and sizes. That's important because in a nest, when you're looking at how birds make nests, or dinosaurs, as someone said, there's different, a nest, one nest doesn't look the same as the next nest. There's different things and different materials. So once you've got a collection of different materials, the next thing to look at is the site. So obviously there's going to be concerns about safe interaction. Someone will always go, what are you doing? What are you making? Is it anyone going to get hurt with it? So you want to be sensible about where you locate it. So for example here, I've picked a couple of sites. We'll do one at the back, but then we'll do another one down here. I like the idea that for some, if it's a smaller scale nest, you're looking at the aspect of it being a bit more sheltered, which then mimics a little bit like what the majority of birds do, is that they find a sheltered spot and it actually creates a nice little space and a little scene that the kids can come back into. But if you're doing a big dinosaur one like John did, where you want to have a whole lot of kids in, you obviously want a bigger space. You're also then thinking about how long this nest is going to be there for, because it may well be a temporary activity, and you say, well, it's going to last a couple of months, and then or it's just going to be there for the week, and then we're going to pull it apart, or we want it to be there, and we want it to be for as long as we can, for years. And it might be that you add to the nest as it starts to break down, you're actually putting more materials back into it. So choosing the site is probably important, and probably more important than people give responsibility to. But it's important to sort of think about that in regards to how it's going to get used. If it's meant to be a bit of a quieter nest-making space or nest space, then you don't want to have it in the middle of the play area, because footballs and cricket bats and kids running is probably not a safe thing too. Materials. One of the biggest obvious things is you don't want stuff that's got thorns in, you don't want stuff that's itchy, it's going to have issues with regards to allergies with kids. So it's always very good to look at what you've got and make sure you're not putting anything in that kids are going to go and have a reaction to or cause issues. Unfortunately, that means that things like your bougainvilleas, beautiful on canes, probably not the best plant because of all the spikes on them, but there's other plants that are just as good. So looking at it from a safety point of view, the other thing to keep in mind is looking at the plant material that you're chopping. Will it actually regrow if you're putting it into the ground? So some of the material, once you actually put it into the ground or it's in contact with the ground, it will start to take root, and all of a sudden you've got this bush where the nest was, and you're actually needing to go, well, actually that's probably not the best material, let's look at something else. Pliable material. One of the other things that we haven't got here but I like to use is things like your branches off your gum trees and things like that can actually be quite good, even though they're not totally pliable, but they're actually, when you start to weave it, actually starts to give you the nest and gives you something interesting as well. So, probably lose all of our bamboo. John wants to use that, we'll let him use this. There's no magic formula for making a nest. As I said, different sizes and different materials. But effectively what you want to start off with is, what I like to do is get something down as a weed mat. In the past I've used carpet squares that were just going to be thrown out as the base, because in designing it, you don't want to have a situation where weeds are coming up and growing where you want the nice nest to be. So what we'll do, how many have we got here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 14. So if we get about 12 in one group, so if we just go along 2, 4, 8, 10, 12-ish, kind of in the middle there. And what we're going to start to do is actually prepare the site, and then as we go through it, we've got some secateurs, we've got some pruning saws to start to cut up materials and start to lay out the pattern. and then I'll talk, as we're doing that, we'll talk about how I've done the layout of it, and then how you can engage with kids or with people of different ages in that, from toddlers through to older kids, about how they can actually work in a team in building a nest. So what we'll do is we'll pull out some of the, I think this is just a cover, so we'll leave that alone, but we'll pull out some of the cardboard. So if you want to get into a group that side, and then we'll create 2 nesting spots.